If you're a dog owner, you will be aware there's a raft of restrictions on acceptable dog behaviour, where they can and can't be walked, cleaning up their mess, even rules on the number of dogs that can be walked together at once. But as our Dorset reporter Tristan Pascoe has been finding out this week, there are some dog owners biting back against the restrictions, particularly when it comes to accessing beaches along the south coast.
From the start of this month, many of our beaches are accessible to dogs again after being kept canine-free during the tourism season.
I don't feel that it's fair to ban dogs when there's just no reason for it. And come September, when the tourists are gone, the beaches are empty.
So Nikki started a petition here in Bournemouth to have that restriction lifted a month earlier, from September the 1st, and has gathered more than 6,000 signatures.
We want to go for a walk for a good hour, 2 hours. And it is a big deal because most of the facilities are on dog-restricted beaches as well. We want to support local businesses, go and have a cuppa or something to eat.
But not just a pet, not just an animal.
Many local businesses are dog-friendly too. There's an economic benefit.
A month ago, we were sat here twiddling our thumbs as the dog owners still weren't down here. So we had, the crowd that liked to get away after the school holiday ends, but the weather was pretty miserable. Dog owners will cut every day, come rain or shine, and it's great for them. We've got 7 miles of sandy beach here, but there's so few places that actually open year round and are there and able to make a go of it.
But to the west and down towards Bournemouth itself, dogs are not allowed between May and the end of September. Now, the council says it's partly to do with protecting the status of its blue flag beaches, but also they say it's important to remember not everyone loves dogs.
If you're a cyclist and a dog runs out in front of you, that can be quite dangerous. But it works both ways. People moan about cyclists, don't they? So, yeah, I'm happy as long as dogs are on a lead.
I have seen people allowing their dogs onto the beach when they're not supposed to be, and dogs have been pooing on the beach, urinating on the beach. It's quite unacceptable.
The owners have to be careful, but unfortunately they don't care. So no, they don't care.
Be the early morning walkers or the late night walkers. No one's around, just leave it.
All councils, including here in Bournemouth, have their own rules. Portsmouth City Council is considering extending the area of beach that dogs are allowed on. The Isle of Wight uses PSPO's public space protection orders to tackle dog fouling. And many authorities, including Oxford City Council, have a maximum number of dogs that can be walked by one person at any one time.
We have this reasonable expectation of dogs don't have the ultimate right to go everywhere.
Animal charity The Dogs Trust says restrictions are needed.
We do appreciate that sometimes these measures do need to be put in place. But what we also want to look at is how some of the issues that result in these kind of restrictions are put in place are then addressed, such as unruly behaviour of dogs, antisocial behaviour of dogs and people, dog
Responsible pet owners accept councils need to enforce restrictions on the beach for part of the year. They just wish it was for a month less.
Most places along the coast are dog friendly. They've opened their arms to us dogs, but we're not allowed to be on the beaches in front of where they are. And I think that, opening beaches to dogs will really incentivize people to be considerate. The beaches are empty and we're not allowed to use our natural resource. I think it would mean a lot to a lot of people that they could have a long walk, exercise their dogs, that they could get the fresh air.
So a lot more dogs, partly because of the pandemic. Richard, quickly, do you think they've been a blessing or a curse?
Well, I've got 3 dogs, so I've got to declare that from the very beginning. I think it's an interesting piece because, the Dogs Trust made a very sensible statement. And I think they're in danger of creating a sort of us and them when it's not necessarily needed. I think we need to respect the right of people that don't like dogs. Beaches are beautiful places. There's a long time in the year you can have your dog on the beach. And the point about badly behaved dogs is a totally separate one. We shouldn't really take on dog ownership without some minimum, I think, of training. But also, a respected trainer. The guy there seemed very sensible and know what he's doing, but that's not always the case.
Yeah, I mean, Tristan and Barnaby, he was very well behaved all the way through that, did point out that it helps some businesses, doesn't it? And if
Yeah.
they could get a bit of extra business from all these new dog owners, I see a lot of them welcoming dogs in now.
Indeed, I mean, we have a fabulous cockapoo Todd, and we wait for this time to get back on the beach because it's the time for us locals to enjoy our beaches in the winter once the tourists have sort of moved on. But I think there's a balance to strike. You know, before we had the dog, we would not have wanted dogs everywhere. And I think there are probably more bits of the beach we could make dog friendly. And of course, you know, you're right about businesses. The really interesting point that was made, though, was about dogs that have come in that are badly bred and that are badly behaved. And I'm really thrilled. I don't know if you've heard this yet, but the puppy smuggling bill is back. Danny Chambers, one of the Lib Dem MPs, has got it in a private members bill, and I'll be one of the co-sponsors. So,
well, it's a private members bill. I was talking to Danny about it this week, and it's not sure whether that'll get through or not. Do you think that's something the government ought to take up? Trying to cut down on puppy smuggling?
Yeah, and to be fair, it's something that's taken seriously, believe it or not. You know, this new government does want to make sure cross-party we can make some sensible decisions. I can't pretend to know whether it'll get taken up or not, but it won't be. It's not a case where we're just going no because it's a Lib Dem motion there. I think the whole thing around dog ownership is a much broader piece around us enjoying our environment and actually getting along together. So I think, you know, it is a serious topic in a light-hearted way.
Right, good. Still to come on today's Politics South with all the